I'd always believed in honesty, the kind that holds a marriage together through thick and thin. Claire and I had been married for 7 years, and until recently I thought we were happy. She was beautiful, ambitious, and had a laugh that could brighten the darkest day, but lately her laugh felt distant, like it was meant for someone else. It all started with the little things. She began working late more often, texting a lot, but keeping her phone screen angled away from me, and suddenly showing an interest in going to the gym, alone. I tried not to overthink it. People change, interests evolve, and I trusted her. That was my first mistake. Then came the name, Ethan. He's just a friend from work, she'd said casually. Over dinner one evening, her eyes firmly fixed on her plate. I didn't press her. Why would I? Trust was the foundation of our marriage. But the way she said it stuck with me like a thorn I couldn't pull out. Over the next few weeks, Ethan became a recurring character in her life. She'd mention him in passing, how he helped her with a project, how he shared the same love for indie films, how he'd made a hilarious joke during a meeting. It was always subtle, but it was there. I told myself I was being paranoid, that my mind was playing tricks on me. Until one day I wasn't so sure. She came home late again, smelling of expensive cologne, not hers and certainly not mine. When I asked about her evening, she hesitated just for a split second before giving me the same line. Just work stuff. You know how it is. But I didn't know how it was. Claire never used to lie to me, and now it felt like she did it with ease. The next morning, I decided to trust my instincts. I had to know the truth. Claire's phone was locked, but she'd forgotten her Apple Watch on the nightstand. She'd always been careless about syncing her messages, and I was betting on that carelessness now. My hands trembled as I navigated the watch, searching for evidence I wasn't even sure existed. And then I found it. A text from Ethan. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. The ground beneath me seemed to shift. I felt a hot rush of anger, betrayal, and disbelief. 7 years of marriage, undone by a single text. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to be sure to gather more proof. I needed a plan. For the next 2 weeks, I became a man obsessed. I installed a small GPS tracker in her car and a discreet app on her phone that forwarded her messages to mine. I hated myself for stooping so low, but I needed to know the full extent of her betrayal. Every piece of evidence felt like a knife to the chest. Secret dinners, late-night rendezvous, even plans for a weekend getaway, all with Ethan. By the end of it, I wasn't just angry, I was determined. Claire had taken my trust, my love, and made a mockery of it. If she wanted a way out of our marriage, she could have asked for one. Instead, she chose deceit, and now she would face the consequences. I planned my move carefully. On the surface, I acted like everything was fine. I kissed her goodbye in the mornings, laughed at her jokes, even complimented her new dresses, the ones she probably wore for him. But underneath, I was preparing for the ultimate reckoning. It all came to a head on our anniversary. Claire suggested a quiet dinner at home, just the two of us. I agreed, playing the part of the loving husband, even buying her a bouquet of her favorite flowers. But the dinner I had planned wasn't about celebrating our love. It was about exposing her lies. I set the table with our finest china and lit candles for ambiance. Claire arrived home looking radiant, her face glowing with what I could only describe as guilt, masked by excitement. As we sat down, I made casual conversation, asking about her day, her work, and, of course, Ethan. "Oh, Ethan," she said, her voice faltering slightly. "He's just a friend. Why do you keep bringing him up?" "No reason," I replied, smiling. "Just curious." Midway through dinner, I reached under the table and pulled out an envelope. "I got you something special for our anniversary," I said, handing it to her. Her eyes lit up, but the moment she opened it, the color drained from her face. Inside were printed screenshots of her texts with Ethan, photos from their secret meetings, and a copy of the hotel reservation they'd made for their weekend getaway. I watched her as she flipped through the pages, her hands trembling, her breath shallow. "Care to explain?" I asked, my voice calm but laced with steel. Claire stammered, her excuses tumbling out in a panicked mess. "It's not what it looks like. He's just a friend. Those texts, they're taken out of context. Out of context? I laughed bitterly. You're going to tell me that last night was amazing? Was about a work meeting? Tears welled up in her eyes as she begged for forgiveness, claiming it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But I'd heard enough. You didn't just betray me, I said, my voice rising. You betrayed our marriage, our life together. And for what? Some guy who probably doesn't even love you the way I did? She tried to reach for me, but I pulled away. Don't. My next move was the final nail in the coffin. I'd invited a few guests to join our anniversary dinner, and right on cue, the doorbell rang. Claire looked at me in confusion and fear as I walked to the door and opened it to reveal her parents, my parents, and, most satisfyingly, Ethan's wife. The room erupted into chaos. Claire's mother burst into tears, her father shouted in disbelief, and Ethan's wife, a fiery woman named Laura, stormed in like a hurricane, demanding answers. Claire tried to escape to the bedroom, but I stopped her. You don't get to run away from this, I said. You made your choices. Now face them. For the next hour, secrets spilled like an overfilled dam. Ethan's wife revealed her own evidence, painting a picture of a man just as deceitful as Claire. My parents and hers watched in stunned silence as the life Claire had carefully constructed crumbled before their eyes. By the end of it, she was a sobbing mess, begging for forgiveness from everyone in the room. But forgiveness wasn't on the menu. I handed her a folder containing divorce papers I'd already prepared. Sign these, I said, and we can end this civilly. Or don't, and I'll see you in court. She signed, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold the pen. As she did, I felt a weight lift off my chest. This was the end of our story, but it was also the beginning of something new. A life free from lies, deceit, and the constant ache of betrayal. After everyone left, I sat alone at the dinner table, the candles still flickering. For the first time in weeks, I felt at peace. Claire had underestimated me, thinking I'd never find out, that I'd never fight back. But she was wrong. I wasn't just her husband, I was a man who deserved better. And now I would have it.